Scene one, take one.
Is it possible that our Calgary and area real estate market has continued its historical run? Well, tune in to find out. All right, welcome back to another Calgary real estate market update with us at Redline Real Estate here on Redline TV. And my name is Darren Langell, and I'm one of the founders here at Redline and your host for these monthly market update series. In this video, I will discuss those key items that you need to know about the market data released for May 2021. Let's go. So last month, I shared that we had the biggest selling April of all time. Yes, of all time. And before that, March was right up there with one of the best Marches ever, with only one time back in 2007 beating our 2021 sales figures. So did May continue on its blistering pace? Or are we finally pulling back? Well, against all odds, the momentum continues. When pulling this graph up, you'll see that yet again, we're right at the top of the heap. We ended up selling a whopping 2,989 total homes in May. This is a 177% increase from 2020. This graph below shows how we are continuing to outperform last year's figures. And then this graph here, it shows it just in another way. A percentage of sales growth in 2021 versus 2020. Again, way above the field. All this equates to one of, if not the most impressive sales quarter in Calgary's real estate history. Here is a sales per day chart from my analysis that shows how things have gone so far this whole year. And as predicted last month in my market update, we have pushed past the peak in April. And now we're seeing daily sales per day declines as we roll into summer. Now, even though sales are declining, it's still an incredible healthy sales pace. So the sales picture is things keep pushing along nicely. The pace has slowed just a little bit, but the pace is still one of the best of our entire history. So let's talk now about inventory. Well, to start, we started the month of May with 6,124 total homes on the market. This was about 7.3% more total inventory than we had the year prior. Now, as we finished off May, we ended with 6,783. This is about an increase of 600 homes net on the market than we had in April. And now we're finding ourselves at 13.6% more active listings than at this point in 2020. Here's a graph that's showing this change. Here is also another graph that shows how the inventory continues to build despite us having this best sales quarter on record. Again, very impressive to see. Here is where we sit when we look back over the past 15 years for total active inventory at the end of May. If you remember, you'll notice from that sales graph I showed, we were at the peak of sales of all time. But on this inventory graph, you'll notice we aren't at peak. We are kind of in that upper third to middle over the last 15 years. As you only see, there's a couple years that have had higher inventory. But the fact is, all of this is keeping our market from overheating. This extra inventory is a good thing. Now, by reviewing this graph, you'll see the arch of the listing pace that we have undergone since January 1st till now. As the sales ramped up and so did listings. Then they continued, and now we're adjusting back to more of a modest level. However, we finished the month with an average listings per day pace of about 138, which is historically still a very high number. This fact will continue to help as the buyer demand continues to push right into summer and keep us healthy, not inflated. In total, if you remember, I mentioned we have 13.6% more total inventory. And here's the differences across those four property types. The detached, it sits with 6% more. Row houses, 16% more. The semi-detached, the only one with less, 11% less. And then our apartments, it's sitting with 38% more active inventory. Okay, let's transition now over to the pricing picture. First of all, the average benchmark sales price in the month of May hit $455,200. This is an increase of 10.6% year over year. And this is also a month over month increase of about 5,000 or 1%. And with this now, we have rolled back the clocks all the way to May 2014. This has now officially eroded the entire benchmark price loss since our peak. This is wonderful, wonderful news for all of us here in the greater Calgary area. Here is a graph that shows how this has changed though across the various districts around the city. It's all different, and as you can see, all those green arrows around, it's all very positive. Now let's also go into the property by property breakdown. The detached market leading the way, 12.2% year-over-year price gain. Whew. Row houses, 7.9%. Semi-detached, 9.9%. And even our apartments gained 4.9% on their benchmark sales price. Now on top of pure pricing, the average sales to list price ratio in the city was 98.6%. That means that on average, people are only getting about $6,200 off of list price. It's pretty close. This percentage grows as you get outside of the middle parts of the market, both into the lower price condo market and also into the higher end market trending towards those luxury brackets. Okay, so independently, you now know about our sales summary, our inventory story, and that pricing picture. But that's not the full story. So how does this all come together in terms of the real pace of this market? Well, first of all, the sales to new listings ratio. The higher the ratio, the faster, the stronger the market is. On May 1st, we sat with a ratio of 61%. Now on May 31st, just yesterday, we finished the month with 72%. What'd you notice? Well, yeah, the ratio got larger. That means that despite the sales numbers dropping down a bit from our peak, our market has actually gotten a little bit tighter. This means that the total number of new listings coming to market has dropped a little more than the demand has. Hence, putting us in a position as we transition into June where we remain with a strong continued pace. Now here is a bit of a graph showing how this has changed through the month. You'll see that graph trend upwards. Now this again, as always, is different for each property type. Here's the breakdown. The detached went from 68% up to 75%. Row houses from 60 to 64. Semis from 93 all the way up to 101. And the apartments from 33 up to where we sit today at 53%. All of them increasing. And number two, the months of supply. In this case, the lower the number, the faster the pace. However, this stat's a little different than the sales to list ratio. It continues to factor in the total inventory on the market, not just that 1 week trend that I've been sharing. As we've gone through this strong selling season, we've also brought a huge amount of inventory to market as well. So as we calculate the current months of supply in our market, this number has actually gone up throughout May. We started May with 2.1 months of supply. We ended May with a little more, 2.3 months of supply. So despite it currently feeling tighter with that sales versus listing per day ratio getting higher, we are seeing a larger months of supply as well. This again is helping to keep our market in healthy range, not overheated range. This is different again for all four property types, and here are those quick numbers. Detached went from 1.52 to 1.62. Row houses from 2.4 to 2.6. Semis from 1.6 to 2. And apartments up just a bit, 5.5 to 5.7. So it's again been consistent change across all property types. The months of supply has grown. This has resulted in days on market reducing all the way down to now 32 days on market. This is a 46% reduction from the same time back in 2020. It's a lot. So as a final summary for you today, take a look at this buyer demand graph. All right, despite having our record quarter, showings are still happening at near their top pace as you look. We are seeing an easing as we trend into summer, but for those looking to sell or buy in this market, it will continue to feel quite busy. You will need to act fast as a buyer, and sellers will continue to achieve almost exactly what they're asking for. So that's about it. Thank you again for watching another market update video with us here at Redline Real Estate on Redline TV. If you have any specific questions, please don't hesitate to reach out as you have been. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of these. See you again next month.